in life, right? I always tell people that there's leaders and there's followers. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. Someone's going to be
Yeah.
president, and someone's going to make the rules for people to follow,
Crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Joseph was a leader. The brothers were followers. It's how life works, right? But
Yeah.
that choice depends on you. You make that choice. God has given you free will. You can be a leader or you can be a follower. So
Meet Walter Bruce, a tech entrepreneur and philanthropist who puts God and purpose at the center of it all.
The most important thing I learned in life was not to give up. Your story can change any day. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is how many times you get up when you fail. Because one day you might get up and you might not fall again.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the business of your dreams. So today I have one of my very old friends. We've been friends since Sunday school, really long time ago, honestly. Yeah, Walter Bruce. Yes, I know when we were younger, we used to wonder, like, where from this name Walter Bruce? Because Walter Bruce was it sounded really foreign. And yes, soon after high school, he relocated to the United States and he's doing amazing. So today he's going to just come and share his story to inspire us. So Walter, can you share a bit about your journey from moving to the US to where you are today?
Yeah, moving to the US is one of the most amazing things that have happened to me. I think I moved to the US like back in 2011, 2012, to go to high school.
Did you?
To go to
so you didn't
college.
finish? Yeah, so after high school, right? Yeah.
Yes, to go to college, right? It was a great experience. I moved to Oklahoma where my parents lived. I went to Northeastern State University where, I played soccer there, made some really good friends. I left in 2017, graduated, moved to the state of Texas. In Oklahoma, Oklahoma is a pretty, where I went to school was a pretty small town, right? So it was a culture shock for me, right? And it was just overall, I feel like I grew a lot. Like I learned a lot from there. Things were less cheaper. I was able to save more money. I was able to get a job and do what I love. But it was an amazing experience. But since then, I live in Texas now. I live in Dallas to be precise. I love it there, and life is going on.
Okay. So, can you share your journey? So, from high school, you went to college in Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
And then small town. I know you were doing a bit of cooking, chef stuff, or that was just a hobby.
Yeah. So while I was in college, right, I decided I wanted to make money. While in college, make some money. Have to pay rent. My dad was an executive chef at a casino where he was managing about 12 restaurants, right? So he calls me in and he says, "Hey, do you want a job?" I said, "Yeah, I want a job." He said, "Okay, come and clean the kitchen and I'll pay you $12 an hour." I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I started cleaning the kitchen. But one thing about me is I always have a positive mindset no matter what. It doesn't matter if I want to be there or not. As long as I'm there, I want to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
So while in the kitchen, I was cleaning the kitchen as a cleaner. A year after I became a pantry cook, I was learning the name of the dishes. A kid from Ghana, exposed to foreign dishes like American, Mexican, name it, French, Italian. So I was learning the name of the dishes and I became a pantry cook. And then I became a production cook, and I became a saucier. It was an amazing experience within 4 or 5 years where before I graduated from college, I was a whole chef. I could cook anything. I learned, and I was supposed to just be a cleaner, right? And I moved to Texas in 2017. I still continued the journey in cooking. I had a second job where I was cooking, and then I had a finance job because I studied information systems and minored in finance in college. So I was working for a financial company. I like what I like what I was doing back then. It was nice. I was making decent money, But then I felt like that was not my calling. In life, right? I always tell people that there's leaders and there's followers. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. Someone's going to be president, and someone's going to make the rules for people to follow, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be leaders, and there's always going to be followers. Joseph was a leader. The brothers were followers. It's how life works, right? But that choice depends on you. You make that choice. God has given you free will. You can be a leader or you can be a follower. So, I was not really happy. I was glad what I was learning. I learned a lot of financial strategies. I worked for a financial company that was into life insurance, annuities, investment.
Yeah.
So, I educated myself. I bought life insurance as a kid. At 18 years old, I had my own life insurance. At 18 years old, I had my own investment, annuities and everything, right? But it was still not fulfilling, because it's good to make money, which I was not at that time, right? And guess what? Definitely not fulfilling, so because I didn't feel like it was my calling. So I was at this financial company for 4 years. One day, I made friends actually in Texas, right? I started going out, started meeting people, and this is fast forward to 2020. Almost I just visited Ghana in 2019.
Yeah.
When I came to see it for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And I came back in 2020 and I made some friends and all of them were into tech. Right. And they all were like, Walter, get into tech. Walter, you're so smart, you can do it, get into tech. I feel like, oh my gosh, tech is so hard. Like I remember taking classes. I remember taking C++ in college and I cried like during an exam because I got like, I think it was like 30 over 100. I can never forget. My roommate still remembers. Frank still remembers. He laughs at me. And, it was, so I was like, no, I can't do tech. Right. And then I was like, no, I need to do something. But it's not going to be in finance because finance, you need to build your portfolio. I think where I was working, it was like a collection center. So I was collecting payments on cars and all those kind of stuff. So what I did was I had this friend who was a DevOps engineer, and he came, we had a blackout in the whole of Dallas. So this friend came to my place because I had light. And then while he was working, he saw me give a presentation. And then after giving the presentation, he's like, bro, how much do you get paid? And I told him. And then he was like, bro, this is not for you. The way you give the presentation, you can do so much more. You should get into tech. And I was like, are you sure? And then he was like, look at how much someone who is let's say, project manager makes. I saw the amount. I was like, oh, no way. Like, I have an information systems degree. Why am I not into tech? So the next moment, like, I started getting some certifications. I studied, took online courses and everything, got all those certifications. I started applying for jobs. I turned off my phone. I wasn't coming out. I didn't come out for about a month or two, just taking certifications. I wasn't going out. I wasn't drinking, none of all that. Like logged in. I went to the gym, had my regular job and studied for about a couple of months. And then I started applying for jobs. I remember going to interviews and I was asked questions. I didn't know what the answer was. It was so frustrating, and it was even more frustrating because I had an information systems degree, right? There were things that I was supposed to know, but I've not used my degree in a long time. So I didn't really know what they were talking about, but I didn't give up. The most important thing I learned in life was not to give up. Your story can change any day. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is how many times you get up when you fail. Because one day you might get up and you might not fall again. It's just that simple. So I studied and boom, I landed my first tech job. And I was into it, it was really nice. I loved it. I was able to fit into the role successfully. I didn't stop learning. I kept on learning, educating myself. Weekends, no outing, no partying. I was just studying, investing in myself. That's what I called it. Yeah. And fast forward, it's been 4 or 5 years, 5 years almost. I'm in the tech role. I'm learning more. I've got promotions. I'm no longer doing the role I started in. I'm way much like 4 or 5 steps higher. I've built a lot of network, and I've acquired a lot of knowledge in the tech industry. Fast forward, I own my own company, BIK Technologies. We build applications, website. I have a whole team, in India. Not only that, I also own a foundation which is called the Water Boost Foundation nonprofit. That's like my joy. That is fulfilling. And one thing that I forgot that I left out was when I was looking for a job, right? I had to go to God. I had to pray. I had to kind of make a deal with God. I was like, God, I know I want to make more money. That's why I'm looking for this job. But if you give me the job, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm not going to keep all the money to myself. I'm going to give it out. I'm going to take what I need and give the rest out to your people. Give the rest out to be a blessing to people. As a matter of fact, God, don't even bless me. Use me. People want to get blessed. I want to get used. So please use me so I can be a blessing to other people, and all glory will be to your name. So after I got into the role and everything, and I started making more money, I formed the Water Brews Foundation. At first, I was going to do Water Brews, a non-profit, Water Brews LLC. And God was like, no, 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 no. You're gonna do this big. And before that, right? When I didn't think I was going to start a foundation, I just said I was going to give to the poor. I'm not going to keep all to myself. So it was just more of like cooking and going giving to the poor, maybe every other Saturday, something. I didn't intend to create a foundation or anything. But then it was my birthday, and then I decided to spend my birthday with their own house. After I spent my birthday with them, God was like, this is what I want you to do. You're going to start a foundation, not an LLC, a foundation. And a foundation is the how do I say, the biggest form of a nonprofit. Because there's nonprofits that are LLC, but foundations give to nonprofits. So God's like, no, I want you to start. I'm going to give to you so you can give to people, and not only to people, to nations, to nonprofits and everything. But you have to trust me. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, very difficult. So I was like, okay, God, I know this was supposed to be a one-time thing, but who am I? I obey. So I obeyed, and I started cooking every weekend. It started getting expensive, and God brought people my way that started donating food, that started donating resources. I got volunteers, I went out there, I was like, God, I need a van. God provided a van. God, I need this, and God provides. I tried to make a lot of excuses to get out of it. But God was like, I've called you, right? So you're going to do it.
And the whale.
Yes. Like Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh, right? So he still went. So you know what? Anytime I found an excuse, God provides to cancel that excuse out. And I kept on giving. Fast forward, I own the Water Boost Foundation. I own BIK Technologies. I built technologies. I've built about 2 apps. I started BIK Technologies with a couple of friends, and I've built 2 apps. I have VIP Me app. We have Skip the Line app. We're still building more apps. So everything is going great to the glory of God, Yeah, this is my journey so far.
Okay, so I want to highlight something you said earlier, that there's the leader mentality and then there's the follower mentality. What would you say differentiates the two? Because there are lots of people who are unhappy with their situation now. They are not happy. And then they see other people who are successful or who are where they want to be, right? So is it like a distinction that sets people apart, or is there a way to move from one to another?
Okay. So even in the Bible, right? I can't remember that particular verse, but it says, "The poor shall live among you." Now, when the Bible talks about the poor, the Bible doesn't literally mean people who are homeless or on house, right? God talks about wealth so much that if the Bible talks about a poor person, right, it might be someone like you and I right now who is living a normal life. right? But the Bible could describe you as poor. You understand? Because Solomon was wealthy. There were people that were doing good in the Bible. Abraham was rich, but I think Solomon was richer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if the Bible describes people as poor, it doesn't mean, oh, you will beg or anything. It means you'll be normal in life. Like you can afford vacation, you can go to all these things, right? Now, with the story of Joseph, right? Joseph had a dream where he was the sun and the moon, the stars were bowing to him, right? It didn't mean that God hated Joseph's brothers. No. It's just that in the Bible, right, God is a man of principles. And the principle in the Bible is that some people are born to lead and some people are born to follow. There are servants and there are masters, whether you like it or not, right? That is something that is in the Bible. Now, as far as you being a servant or a master, it's up to you. It's up to you to the extent that you need to, first of all, you need to understand the principles of God. By understanding the principles of God, you need to understand the principles of wealth in the Bible. You know, there are so many influencers or so many life coaches that will tell you, oh, if you want to make it in life, disappear for 1 month, 6 months, work on yourself.
Yeah.
That is a principle in the Bible, the principle of separation. True. When God wants to work on you, he separates you from everyone so you can only hear his voice. That is the principle. And a lot of people don't understand that even non-believers benefit from the principles of wealth and leadership in the Bible more than Christians. The only way to know these things is to study because they are principles. The principle of separation. If God wants to work on you, you can't be among family. You can't be among friends. He separates you from people. Look at Joseph. You think Joseph was sold into slavery, was put in a pit. But if you think about it, God separated him from everyone, from his family, and God worked on him till he was where God wanted him to be before he brought his family back to him. So God will separate you. Look at Abraham. When God told Abraham to leave the land, and Lot was still following, right? Like God will separate you. Look at the story of Jacob, where Jacob and Esau, Jacob stole Esau's blessing. Jacob had to run for his life, work with Laban. God separated him. So the power of separation is very important. So first, if you want to be a leader, or if you feel like, oh, I don't want to be a follower, right? You have to understand God, the principles of God and the principles of wealth in the Bible. The only way to understand that is read the word, right? 2, you have to be a prayerful person. Whether you like it or not, there's no successful person on this planet that does not have any form of spiritual backing. They might not be a Christian, they might not be a Muslim, they might be a non-believer, but they definitely believe in something. There is no, you need, because great people, for example, right? Let's say the president. You don't see the president working alone. It's impossible. The president needs to work with bodyguard. It's the same way spiritually. You want to be great, you can't work alone. You need to work with God. So it's very important. Understanding the Bible, following principles, the power of separation. You need to get comfortable with being by yourself and locking in. It's very, very important. So my advice to someone who is out there and wants to be a leader, wants to be does not want to be a follower, is to read the Bible, follow the principles of the Bible, because God is a God of principles. Understand the principles of wealth from the Bible, and and not be a procrastinator, because no matter what, right, you can pray and pray and pray. God will give you all the retentive memory. If you don't study, you'll never pass in that exam. It's a two-way street. You need to do your part and God will do the rest. If Joseph wasn't humble, if Joseph, when Potiphar's wife wanted to sleep with Joseph, if Joseph didn't run, Joseph did his part by running. Joseph did his part by having a relationship with God and being able to interpret and understand dreams. Joseph had to do his part for God to come in. So as a human being, you have to do your part for God to come in. You want to be great, you need to study. You want to be great, you need to be aligned with your purpose. You need to understand what your purpose is. You want to be great, you need to go to school more. If school is what you want to do, you want to be great. You can't be a procrastinator. You need to put in the grind, And there's a lot of people that think, oh yeah, I've put in the grind, but I'm not seeing anything. First of all, that's good. You're putting in the grind, but have you consulted God? God is first in your life. You want to be great. You need to go to God with everything. God, I want to start a hair business. Is this a good idea? Should I do it?
Yeah.
Let me pray. Let me pray about it. Because guess what? It might not be your purpose. It might not be your calling. You might make all the money. You might actually be successful, depending on what success means to you. But you might be empty. There won't be no fulfillment. You see, one thing I always tell people is there are two types of people in life, right? There are people who are rich and there are people who change the world. So even though you're successful, you can be rich. What do you want to do? I want to change the world. I want to die as the guy that fed the unhoused, as the guy that loved people, as the guy that lived an exemplary life to see God, as a guy that lived a life to glorify God. Because that's our purpose on earth. Everything that we do through our hard work is supposed to glorify Him. Sorry, I went off topic a little bit, but that's my advice I'll give to anyone that wants to be great, And unfortunately, there are people that want to work 9 to 5 forever. Like, there are people that were born that don't want to be great.
Yeah.
But if you want to be great, your first thing is understanding your purpose, putting God first, reading your word, and understanding the principles of wealth and the principles, God's principles, and the power of separation, and God will see you through.
So I think the next question was going to be what kept you motivated, but I guess we have covered that, right? So
I mean, I could brush on real quick again. As I said, purpose driven, right? I was eager to find my purpose, right? And whatever your purpose is going to come with some sacrifices, working hard, not being a procrastinator. So that kept me going.
Yeah, because like what you said, there's a lot of procrastination when it comes to people who want to achieve their dreams. Because I personally, I have a lot of people reach out to me, and it's all about, like you said, it's all about, I want to start a business. And I'm like, okay, sometimes I respond. Sometimes I'm like, what business do you want to start? And then they throw the question back to me and they're like, can you tell me what business you think I should start? Right.
Look at that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it makes a lot of sense because there are lots of people who are very unhappy with their lives, especially now.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on. But yeah, I know now it's tough. The systems are tough. Economy everywhere is tough, right? But like you said, when you know God, you understand your purpose in life, and you also put in the work because you were working at a place. You were comfortable. You were not fulfilled. You were not happy, but you were okay. You had food to eat. You had car to drive. You had a place to stay, right? But then knowing that there's something more in your life that you can achieve, right? And not just knowing it, but going out of your way, like you said, you separated yourself for like 2 months to study. Yeah. So
yeah. And
anyway,
one thing people don't really get is that if you're somewhere in your life right now and you're uncomfortable, you see, we're created in God's image. That means that's not where you need to be. That is your inner spirit, the Holy Spirit talking to you, not the inner spirit. The Holy Spirit talking to you. You're not supposed to be here, right? I'm sure when Joseph was in Potiphar's house, I'm sure Joseph knows he wasn't going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Right? When David was in the wilderness, I know David knew he wasn't going to be there forever. Right? You have to obey the calling. If David didn't go to, sometimes I put myself in David's shoes. Right? I'm a shepherd, and then my dad sends me to go and give food to my brothers on the battlefield.
On the battlefield, right?
I won't go.
Right. Yeah.
It's the battlefield. But you see, right? Wherever you are, right? Trust God that wherever you've been, right? As long as you start feeling uncomfortable, it means your time is up. Because remember, David was killing bears and lions. In the wilderness. When his time was up, he has killed bears. Now it's time to kill a giant. God is a God of process. So you start. Remember, I started from the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was a cleaner. I became a cook. I started from somewhere. Now I'm into tech, right? Till I own my own company. I'm a CEO. So you always start from somewhere. Guess what? All the places I started from, that level of uncomfortability that came up at every level has brought me where I am right now.
Yeah.
I've been at the lowest, like Joseph, been at the lowest, and now a prime minister. I'm not at a prime minister yet, but it's a journey, right? The journey is very, very important. Remember, when you start feeling uncomfortable, it means God is trying to talk to you. Talk to God. I tell people that if you're looking for answers from God, there's a couple of ways to touch God's heart: through fasting and prayers, through worship, and through sacrifice. So yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your work ethic. You have managed to, I know you didn't want to mention this, but I know you have a number of 9-to-5 jobs. You have some businesses as well. So how do you manage your time and your energy among these roles?
I am a very disciplined person, right? To be successful, you have to be disciplined, right? Both, let's even get out of the Bible. Physically, every life coach will tell you need to be disciplined, right? And the Bible talks about discipline, right? Joseph was disciplined. Job was disciplined, right? Know what you want and work towards it. I wake up at 3:45 a.m. every morning, right? I pray between 3:45 a.m. to 4:30. I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I come back, take a shower. I read my Bible. I start work by around 7 a.m. And normally 7 a.m. it's not like I'm working, but I'm like logged into my computer, reading what's going on, looking at stuff and everything, doing on other stuff. I also talk to my developers on my own business, on other stuff like, hey, what's going on? Has this been done? Yes. So I'm multitasking every time, right? Guess what? I need to work hard so I can fulfill the purpose that God has put in my life. Because God is going to give you the purpose, but you can't just sit down and the purpose will come through. You have a part to play. So my part to play is to be disciplined and obedient. So I'm being disciplined. After I sit behind the computer all day, I eat lunch. Sometimes I'll take a nap on my break. If I don't take a nap, I'm working on other businesses. When I'm done with work around 5. I volunteer with kids. At my church, I coach kids. It's not every day that I coach. So I coach 5th graders on soccer, right? If I have practice, I go to practice. If I don't have practice, I'm thinking about a new idea and trying to map out a workflow of how I'm going to bring that idea to life. Like I'm always thinking, I'm always on the go. There's a prayer that I prayed one time. I was like, God, I never want to be idle, because that thing is really true. The devil finds work for the idle man.
Yeah.
Have you ever been idle and then you find yourself doing things you're not supposed to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm never idle. So after that, I pray, and I have like you need prayer. Prayer is very important. Prayer is like the food you eat every day. Imagine not eating for 5 days, going without prayer for 5 days. That's crazy. It can't be done. You need prayer. You need prayer. It's very important. So, I have a couple of friends that I pray with. I have a platform. I go and pray. I lead on a platform every Friday where I help bring young people who are like-minded like me, that want to get closer and get to know God. Every Friday I do that. So yeah, I would say, advice is, be disciplined. Be disciplined and purpose driven. Don't take your eyes off the goal. Don't take your eyes off the ball. Be disciplined. Yeah.
So do you have in the midst of all this, do you have time for social life? Or what would you say is your social life? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I do have time for social life. I do travel, right? Because whether you like it or not, right? Sometimes you have to take a break. Or if you're gonna crash, and you might not even fulfill the purpose that God has for you, right? So you have to take a break. You have to take time to travel. You have to take time to spend time with friends, right? But you don't just spend time with any friends. Spend time with friends that will advise you, friends that you guys can talk about life, doing life together, friends that will bring ideas. Every now and then, I have friends that I'll go and hang out with. I have friends that in my church I hang out with. We do brunch together. But all these people, right? Sometimes they even give me ideas that I'll work on, right? So I say I have time for social life, but who you spend your social life with is very important.
What would you say is the lowest point of your life? Can you describe it, and how do you think you overcame them?
I have a lot of low points. There's no successful person or no world mover or world changer that has never been at the lowest point of your life. Like they could tell you multiple, but I think one low point of my life is when I actually had a big purchase, right? And after I had a big purchase, I had a job, I was making good money, in the tech industry. And let's say I did a big purchase today, the next day I lost my job.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
that
rough.
was rough, the lowest point of my life. But to me, that was a moment of trust for me. God was like, okay, all these things are coming. It was good. They say it's always nice and easy to serve God when everything is going good.
Right. Yeah.
Now when things start falling apart, just like Job, when the devil went to God and said, God, Job is only serving you because everything is good for him. You've made his life great. You have blessed him. God, just let me touch Job.
Yeah.
And you see, and the devil touched Job, right? And Job never cursed God. But Job's wife was like, curse God and die. His friends, curse God and die. Everyone. But Job never. So that story of Job, right? First of all, you need a community. Community as in some good friends that will tell you to pray, that will pray for you. You don't need friends that will tell you curse God and die. You need friends that will tell you it's going to be okay. Just pray. It's going to be okay. Just keep on looking. You need a good community. That's one. Two, your faith needs to be strong. You need to have faith. If you've never had faith, see, there's no way, there's nothing that you're doing right now in life that has not been modeled already in the Bible. Have faith. When Jesus called Peter to come out of the boat to walk on water, Peter needed faith, to have faith to walk. God is always there to listen to you. So have faith. You need to trust. Faith and trust move hand in hand. You need to trust and have faith in God. You need to pray. And you need to understand that everything works together for your good. So that was the lowest time in my life where about 2 months I didn't have a job. And I made this big purchase and I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I never told anyone, really. I only told my community that understands me, or my community that will help me in prayer. And I prayed and God did the big one. God came through mightily. God replaced that income quadruple. Like God showed up, like the way he gave Job quadruple of everything. That's exactly what he did for me. He gave me quadruple of everything. But that was my lowest point because I almost gave up. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, oh, I had faith.
Yeah.
I was like, God, why? Like, why did you bring me this far to embarrass me? Did you bring me this far to just shame me? Why? Like, I've done what you said I should do. Like, why is this things happening to me? And God said, I never said bad things will happen to you. But I promise that through those bad things, I'll be with you. I'll be right there. A lot of Christian things, because you serve God, bad things are not supposed to happen to you. Even bad things happen to Jesus. But through all that, God was with him. He said, you will walk through the valley and the shadow of death, and you shall fear no evil. He didn't say you will never walk through. You will walk through.
Yeah.
Right? But he's with you. He was with me. He was with me the whole time. This strengthened my faith. And if I woke up honestly tomorrow and I lost everything, I will still have faith because I know he's done it before. He will still do it again.
Yeah.
So that was a low point.
Let's talk about the Water Boost Foundation. Right. What can you just tell me how it all started? Like how exactly did you start it? and decide to build it up into a whole foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I said, so I remember I went to church one Sunday, and I was getting frustrated because I wasn't getting a job. So, back in the day, we went to Royal House together, right?
Yeah.
So, Rev always used to teach about covenants.
Yeah.
God is a covenant keeping God. So I was like, you know what? God, I want to have a deal with you. I want to make a covenant with you because I'm not getting the job. I've prayed, I've fasted. The job is not coming. So let me try covenant. So I went into a covenant with God where I told God that, God, I'll give you this amount of money. I'll sow it into you. If you help me get a job, I promise I'm not going to use all the money for myself. I'm going to give it to people. I'm going to be a blessing to people, all in the glory of your name.
Yeah.
So it worked like magic. I entered that covenant with God by those words. I went to sow my seed, put my money in the offering basket. I remember it was Sunday, and prior to that, I'd not been to church in like 3-4 years.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to I'm going to church for the first time in a couple of years, right? And I had that covenant with God, and like magic, it was Sunday, Wednesday, I got a job.
Wow.
I was like, guess what? When I got a job, I honestly forgot.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot. I mean, we're human, right? You get what you want.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot. I kept on going to church, and I convinced myself that, okay, God, I'll pay my tithe, right? That's the deal we had. I'm not going to spend all the money. I'll give you some of the money. So honestly, that's my tithe.
That's your
right?
tithe.
And God was like, don't try to outsmart me. You know the deal you made. You know what you said you would do. So I was like, okay, God, okay, you are right. I said I'll do stuff. Guess what, God? It's my birthday coming up. Next year, I want to spend my birthday with the homeless. Okay, cool. So during that time, my birthday came up, I cooked. I used to be a chef, so obviously I can cook.
Yeah.
I made some.
Yeah. I remember chicken. I saw that. Yeah. I remember your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. I made some chicken, some wings, some French fries, packed them, bought water, bought drinks and stuff. Started cooking around 4 a.m. I had a friend. I'll never forget that friend, Claire. She lives in the neighborhood. She came to help me. We put all that together. I had another friend, I think Jeffrey. Jeffrey had flew in from Connecticut, like to visit me for my birthday. So I told him this is what I wanted to do for my birthday. So, he helped prep the food and everything. Yeah, Jeff was also a chef. So we prepped the food and everything. And then I remember that night we didn't sleep. We started cooking from like 3 a.m. till like 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning for about 200 people.
That's crazy.
We went, at the back of my car, the food was on there. I kind of felt weird because I was like, I don't know how to do this. God, I'm shy. How do I go and go and give the food? It's like, hey, you made a promise to me. So I went and then I fed 200 per. The fulfillment, the joy that came with it, like the relief, the fulfillment, the joy, and what's it called? I felt so purposeful. I felt like this was what I was meant to do in life.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want it to be like, oh, I did something good and I'm feeling great about myself. So I just want to keep on doing it. So I actually went to God and said, God, this felt so good. And he's like, yeah, that's what I've called you to do. And I was like, okay. And it's like, no, you're going to be doing this your whole life. I'm going to bless you and you're going to give to people. You're going to bless people on my behalf. So get ready. It's not like something that you're going to be doing every Saturday or something. Like you need to create a foundation. And he said specifically foundation, not an LLC, foundation. So I Google, what's the difference between LLC and foundation? He says foundation gives to LLC. That's why if you look at all the great men of the world, Mark Zuckerberg has a Mark Zuckerberg Foundation. Trump has a foundation. All the great men of the world have foundations. Say, you're going to be great. So you need a foundation.
Yeah.
I said, God. And again, I'm not a procrastinator. I'm a go-getter. As soon as God told me, I did it the next day, registered Foundation, the Walter Bruce Foundation. I created a website the next day because I'm obedient and I'm disciplined. Don't procrastinate. I did it the next day, created the website. And then I started doing this every Saturday. First, it started from once a month. And then it started from once every other week. And then God was like, no, you need to do it every Saturday, because I realized that people were depending on me. They were homeless people that saw that we came Saturdays and they were waiting for us to come. So people depend on you. You know that your life is very purposeful when people depend on you, not to pay them, but to help them, to pray for them, to feed them. It was not only about just feeding them, it was also praying for them. I have a story about this young guy called Bernard that we became friends from the first time I fed the homeless. And if I show you pictures that we took from the first time to 2 years now, it's amazing. Bernard has changed. Like, you could tell the glow. It was constant prayer. Every time I meet him, Bernard, can I pray for you? What do you want me to pray about? Bernard, have you eaten? Bernard, these are some shoes for you. So it wasn't only about food. Then it became clothes. Then it became shoes. Then it became toiletries. Then it became female packed stuff. It became a whole lot of things. And then God brought amazing people my way, like my coordinator, my director, to direct the Walter Bruce Foundation. We had a group meet where we started bringing volunteers together. There were people in my life that would post like on Instagram, on TikTok. At first, I felt weird posting it on TikTok or Instagram because I didn't want it to look like I had, I was doing good and I want to publicize the goodness. But then I had a friend who was a lawyer and was like, Walter, you've registered the foundation. You can't tell the IRS that you're feeding. You need proof.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you seen Mark Zuckerberg's or Donald Trump's or Elon Musk's foundation without pictures? It does not work like that. You need to take videos. You need to take pictures. So guess what? And when I started, there was a lot of backlash. I had friends saying that, he started to get a tax break. I wasn't making that much money to get a tax break. Nope, I didn't need a tax break. Tax breaks are for people who are making millions. I was nowhere close. What do I need a tax break for? It doesn't affect me. I'm purely, and this to tell you that in life, right? When God calls you to do something, trust me, people are going to say all sort of things. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to criticize you. They're going to speak, because let me tell you, God says, I use the foolish things of this earth to confine the wise, right? And people are going to think all those kind of things, right? But you know where you headed from. You need to trust God. You need to ignore them. You need to separate yourself from all that, and you need to focus, right? People were saying like, Walter is doing this for a tax break. Walter is doing this for this. Walter is doing this for that. I tuned all that out and I focus on my purpose. That is my purpose, to bring people together to serve in the community. So and then it became every weekend. God brought amazing people my way that were posting on social media, that were posting on Instagram, that were posting on TikTok. There's these amazing people in my life that I do not want to mention, right? But amazing, did a great job, right? And they know I'm so thankful for them, for where I am right now in life. Because see, whether you like it or not, you can't do it alone. God brought
definitely
Potiphar in Joseph's life, right? There was Laban in Jacob's life, right? There was Jonathan in David's life. Jonathan saved David's life. I have Jonathans in my life, right? That helped me. So the Walter Bruce Foundation kicked off. I started complaining and said, God, it was getting too expensive. I couldn't afford the food anymore. God brought people in my life to give me food every weekend to give to the homeless. Every weekend. We get a lot of free food to give to the homeless. And, we get people donate drinks, water. People donate their time. People ask, where do you want to serve? I've had people that were like, I want to open a Walter Bruce Foundation in another state. How do I do it? And that's how come we open Walter Bruce Foundation Ghana. So now we have Walter Bruce Foundation in Ghana.
So that is not. So that's like a franchise. of,
Yes.
or are you still leading that, or that's a franchise?
No, I'm still leading that, but I can't be in Ghana. So there are people that represent me.
There are people
there are
who represent,
dedicated volunteers and men of God that do that on my behalf.
Yeah. So are there times where like you do this right now every Saturday and you are personally involved in it every Saturday?
Honestly, sometimes I travel, right?
Yeah, you travel.
I'm going to the UK for my mom's birthday in a couple of weeks, next week, right?
Yeah.
Water Bruce Foundation is still gonna happen because God gave me amazing people.
Amazing people, yeah. So are there times where you feel like, even though you're around, you feel like, oh, I'm tired, it's been a long week, let them handle it? Or you it's like you've made it a point that even though you feel, no matter how you feel, you will show up every single time?
I will show up every single time. There are times that I've been around, and a lot of times that I've been around and I've not showed up because, as I said earlier, I coach fifth grade soccer in my church, and the kids' game are on Saturdays. So I split it between the foundation. So every month I go to 2 kids' game and I go to 2 Water Bruce Foundation.
2 Water Bruce Foundation.
I'm always going to be at the Water Bruce Foundation when I'm in town if there's no kids game. Like, for example, for the soccer, the season has ended. So I expect, apart from going to England and coming back, I expect to be at Water Bruce Foundation every Saturday, no matter what. It takes only an hour or 2 hours to serve, right? So it doesn't matter what the reason is, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. I'm going to have smiles on my face. I'm going to serve. I'm going to pray for people. I'm going to be nice to people. And there were so many times where people didn't even know I was Water Bruce. Because I'm just like the volunteers. I lift stuff up like the volunteers. I pass out stuff like the volunteer. Nobody's a boss here. I don't own the foundation. It belongs to God. If you're there to serve, you're not serving for me. You're not serving because of me. You're serving because you want to honor God. It has got nothing to do with me.
What key, having built your career, your businesses, your foundation, what's that key lesson you think you have learned? Like, what's that one word or one lesson you would share with somebody who wants to start their journey? Yeah.
One lesson is, it's not going to be easy, but with God, it's going to happen. So with my career and everything that's happened, right? It was not easy. Friendships have been broken. Things have happened. I've been at my lowest point several times. There's been betrayals. There's been sacrifices. But again, in the beginning, remember I said, there's nothing that will happen on this planet that hasn't been already modeled in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, and friends have betrayed me. Family has betrayed me. Like, things have happened. There's been bombs. It's not been easy. And I'm still going through a lot, right?
Yeah.
But there's always light at the end of the tunnel with God.
Yeah.
There's always like all these things that you're going through, just like the story of Joseph, from his brothers selling him, trying to kill him, putting him in a pit, going to Potiphar's house. It's like life is like this, right? With God, right? There's a dark storm, and God takes you out, and then there's light, a little bit of light, and God takes you out, and then there's another dark storm, and there's dark storm. But at the end, it's going to be light forever. So it's been bumpy, up, downs, friendship broken, betrayal, sacrifices, tears. There's so many times I've cried at night because things were not going my way. It's going to be, but the thing is, if you have faith and believe in God, it's always going to happen. And the reason why this is my advice to everyone is, a lot of people think because you're doing the right thing, it's supposed to go smooth. Actually, the right thing, that's when, I mean, as a business owner yourself, right? We've been friends for a long time, right? You've told me like your ups and downs that you've gone through, you know, with stuff.
And the ups and downs never stop.
It never.
When you get bigger, the ups and downs get bigger. The downs get bigger.
Yes.
It follows you, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But there's something I want to ask, right?
Yeah.
So you see, there's a clear disparity between Africa and then America is a lot, right? Yeah. And then you have ties in Ghana, you have ties in America, right? So obviously, would you say the system in America made your life better? Would you have been this strong-willed, or would you have been this? Okay, maybe let me break it down. Let me break it down to the work ethic, right? Right. When you were younger, and then now after living abroad, after living in America for quite a while, do you feel you are different, or like you have really your work ethic or your natural ability to push and go for stuff has developed in America, or is something you always had growing up?
I would say something I always had growing up, and this I'm gonna give this credit to Ghana. The reason why I say I'm gonna give it to Ghana is if you have a kid and they go to school and they are being bad at school, they did not learn it in school. They learned it at home. Because how the kid behaves at home is gonna show how he will behave at school. If his parents are cursing at home, using the F word, and he's gonna go to school and say. But even if he goes to learn something in school and he comes home and he knows his mother is strict, he won't say, he'll be mindful, right? And this is to say, like, my work ethic started from Ghana. Back in Ghana, I was raised by my grandmom, right? I knew that when I woke up in the morning, I had to lay my bed. I went to an all-boys school, right? And that's where I was clean. You had to look good, look nice, wear your uniform, iron your uniform so that girls will like you. You had to wear nice sneakers and everything. So I feel like it was instilled with me, even at church, right? How I got to know God. It's not something that, of course, when I came to America, my relationship with God drifted apart, right? But God has always been deep because that's how I grew up. We grew up in church together. Like coming to church every time, even though we're coming to group around, right? But just in God's presence, it did a lot for us, right? So I just felt like, it all started from Ghana, my work ethic, and coming from a third world country, and I knew how hard Ghana was. When I came to America, I was determined to make it. I was determined to make it. I didn't just party my money away. I didn't just say, oh, now I'm in America, let me just misbehave. I knew where I was from. I knew what I wanted to achieve. I knew all the good manners that my grandmom and my mom and my dad instilled in me. So I would say with that, right, from coming from Africa, and you can tell, right, a lot of Africans that are from it, or a lot of people from third world countries, right, their attitude is kind of different. Because we're from somewhere different. The work ethic is different.
Coming from, the thing is, sorry to cut you. There's one thing that everybody says: you are too comfortable. Like, if you cannot make it, it's very difficult for you to make it at where you were born and where you grew up. It's very hard.
Yes.
Because you are comfortable. You are comfortable.
I think what you're looking is you can never make it in your comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah. Surely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I did a video about that recently. Your comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. Yeah. Truly.
Yes.
Imagine
David.
Yeah. Like, most people are comfortable. Where they. Yes. True.
Yeah.
That's true. So what do you think about the systems as well? Because life in Ghana is getting harder and harder and harder and harder. I know it's not easy anywhere else, right? But people always think that as once you travel, you can make it, or once you travel. I for one, I've realized that you think it's hard in Ghana. Try outside without any family and friends, and your rent is how many times what you're paying in Ghana and everything, right? But aside that, like, do you feel like the system or like the environment sort of pushes you to do better? Or like you see hope, like you feel like you can do better as compared to where you're coming from.
Yeah, the question is, do I think it's our environment makes it either easy or difficult for us to
Difficult for
survive
us
as
to
human
make it.
beings? Like, does it
Yeah.
influence? Yeah, to make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think definitely environment is a big part, right? Now, do I think if I was in Ghana, would I be where I am right now? Absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the situation for everyone because some people, so I feel like with that, right, is a very dicey situation. Now, for
Yeah.
myself, would I be where I am right now if I was in
Yeah.
Ghana? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But I have friends that I left in Ghana. I will not say are doing better than me, but they're doing amazing in life.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I've been told as a kid that I've received prophecies. I believe in prophecy. I've received prophecies that you're not meant to be in Ghana. You're supposed to travel outside the world and do great things. So I've always had it. Again, that's why you need to have a relationship with God, because you know where you need to be. Not everyone
Yeah.
is meant to be outside Ghana. Not everyone is meant to be at a particular place. We all are called to different places. God is everywhere. We are all called to different places. My life was just not in Ghana. As I said, I have friends in Ghana that are doing absolutely amazingly fine. But overall, I feel like the system here is has will set you up to be successful.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Compared to Ghana, since I've lived in both places, right? The
Yeah.
system here, like, there are good schools, right? That's why when we are successful in Ghana, we bring our kids here to come and go to school, right? There are good schools. There's good education. There's opportunities, right? America is the land of opportunities, right? And I'm sure most foreign countries are lands of opportunities. We always say that when we're in Ghana, but I believe that as far as, can I tell you, if you come here, you're guaranteed success? No. You
No.
can come here. I know people that have been here, and
Some people
they are
will
not
even, it's
as
better you
close
even
as
stay in Ghana.
being successful
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Ghana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So all depends on having a relationship and your work ethics. Are you disciplined
Yeah.
enough? Do you understand your purpose? I always tell my homegirl, you cannot be with a man or date a man who doesn't know his purpose.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. You need to
Yeah.
have a man or a woman who understands his purpose, who knows his purpose. Because knowing and understanding your purpose, you're like
Yeah.
80% done in life.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the 20% is execution.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are working and they don't know their purpose. They are absolutely billionaires and millionaires that are happy, but they are not fulfilled. Don't confuse happiness and fulfillment. Happiness is based on things that happens.
Yeah.
Happiness.
Yeah.
It's a day-to-day things. Today you could be happy. Tomorrow, happiness is based on things that happens. That's why it's called
Yeah.
happiness. You could be happy today and you could be sad tomorrow. It's based
Yeah.
on things that happens in your life. So
Yeah.
happiness is not a goal. Joy
Yeah.
is the goal. Having joy. If you're
Fulfillment. Yeah.
fulfilled, if you have purpose in your life, you always have joy. You can be sad
Yeah.
and have joy.
Yeah.
Sadness is for a moment.
Yeah.
So you can be sad and have joy, but happiness is based on things that happen. Because someone is happy and they're a billionaire and they're happy doesn't mean they have purpose and
No,
fulfillment.
that's true. Yeah. And even
Yeah.
it's all about measuring like what success means to you. Because success is not always wealth. Most people think
Yes.
being successful is having the money, having the whatever, whatever. So success, what does success mean to you? For some people, success is having the perfect family. No, not a perfect family, but having a loving family to go back to at the end of the day. For them, that is what they call
Yeah.
success. Or them being able to even publish a paper that they've been trying to do.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, so that
Well,
said, what does success mean to you?
like, you could have the perfect family, right?
Yeah.
In your
Yeah.
eyes, you think it's perfect. But let me
Yeah.
tell you, what if it's a 5, right? And God has built you to be a 10.
Yeah.
Because you're happy doesn't mean it's a 10.
Yeah.
It might be a 5. Would you not want to be happier? if you could be happier, or would you not want to be more fulfilled if you could be more? Because there's a lot of people that are married to the wrong people. There's a lot of people that are
Yeah,
married because
surely.
who you get married to will be, if your potential is 10 and who you got married to is 7. 7 might look
Yeah,
good. You think, oh, it's perfect. But what if your potential is 10? For me, success is living life to my fullest potential
okay.
as a man, which means glorifying God, living within my purpose. We were all brought on earth to glorify God. My life has to
Yeah,
glorify God. And the only life you can live to glorify God is walking in your purpose. So success means me walking in my purpose. You can have
yeah,
all the money. Success never means money. You can have all the money in the
yeah,
world
yeah,
and you're not in your purpose. You're not, I don't think you're
yeah,
successful. That might be different from other people if they don't understand what purpose means. But if you're not fulfilled and not working your purpose, I don't think you're successful. I don't actually believe there's anyone on this planet who's working in their purpose and fulfilled and does not feel successful. You automatically be happy.
yeah,
You automatically have joy
yeah,
if you're working your purpose.
yeah,
Like, me going out every Saturday, serving with the homeless people makes me
yeah,
happy, makes
yeah,
me feel like I'm working in my purpose, brings joy to my heart. Not
yeah.
happiness, joy to my heart. So yeah.
What's next for you? Any new businesses, any new business ideas or goals for the Walter Bruce Foundation? Expansion, yeah.
Yeah. For businesses, there's always new businesses, right? I have a lot of
Yeah,
businesses that I'm working on, I'm trying to execute. I can't disclose right now.
that's
I'll
fine.
disclose it at another time. But with Water Boost Foundation, we're expanding. We're getting bigger. As I said, we have Water Boost Foundation Ghana. We're doing Dallas. We're going to start one in Arizona. We're trying to start one in Houston, Fort Worth. We're trying to get a warehouse where we want to start bringing every Saturday, give hot meals out. Right? We want to get a warehouse. We want to get a couple of more vans. We want to get a whole kitchen set up where volunteers can actually not show up to volunteer, but also come to the warehouse and start cooking.
Yeah,
Cook, pray over the
yeah,
food, take it downtown, bless people, and pray for them, give clothes. We want to start a clothing bank, not only a food bank, a clothing bank where we collect clothes all week, right? And then on Saturdays, we give them out. Right now it's about to get cold. We're trying to get blankets, we shouldn't now be trying to get blankets. We want to have all those things
yeah,
already. It's like a Walmart,
yeah,
right? Like a
yeah,
store, but for the on house. But the
yeah,
overall goal of where Water Bruce Foundation is going is the overall goal is to build shelters for other on
yeah,
house.
yeah,
I want to build shelters where we can keep the on-house people in the shelters and not only keep them there. Some of them suffer from drug addiction, some of them suffer from alcoholism. We want to be able to give them rehab. We're working on a mobile medical van where we can
yeah,
provide healthcare for the on house because they can't
yeah,
afford healthcare. They can't even go to the
yeah,
hospital. So we'll come to them and then we'll provide healthcare for them and treat them and provide medication. And with the homes that we are trying to build for the on house, we want to build something like vocational schools. So if someone was on house, they can either choose to learn masonry, carpentry, technology, whatever they want to like tracking. I want to have build like a home where we'll have teachers that will teach these on house people their next job or a career, give them another chance. Because God always gives us chances, right? God will use you to give people chances. That's how you forgive someone, right? You're giving them another chance. Like the way God gives you a lot of chances. Forgive us our trespasses so we can forgive those who trespass against us, right? In this case, it's not forgiving the homeless people because they've not done anything to me, but
yeah,
giving them another chance, right?
yeah,
Giving them another chance at life. Instilling the word of God in them, telling them that God loves them. Sometimes
yeah,
someone is a word or a sentence away of committing suicide. Just saying God
yeah,
loves you might
yeah,
change their mind.
yeah, that's true. Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation, like
Me
very
too.
very deep, very enlightening, and God is definitely going to take you places, because it's one thing wanting something or just wishing for something, and it's another thing devoting, like who's putting maximum effort into what you want. Yeah, there's a huge difference. We all want to make it. The nice house you have, we all want some. But none of us is waking up at 3:45 a.m., right? Yeah, to get things done. And that is what makes the difference. That's what makes the difference between people. And yeah. Anyway, I wanted one more question, right? So I take it, because you have a lot of businesses, you have a lot of, like, do you believe in the power of delegation, right?
Of course. Like, again, Walter Bruce Foundation will not function if there was no delegation. You have to, I believe in not only the power of delegation, I believe in empowering people.
Empowering people.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, even in corporate, right? Sometimes I make decisions where I've been empowered to make the decision, and the decision turn out really good and help the company. Right? I travel sometimes, we spend time with family. I go to soccer to coach the kids. If I don't delegate, Walter Bruce Foundation will fail as fast as it started. So I believe in delegation, and I believe in empowering people who you've delegated, because you can delegate someone, but if they're scared to make decisions on your behalf, your company is going to collapse.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe in empowering people to make decisions. To be able to empower someone, you need to trust them. Right. Like for Walter Bruce Foundation, my director, Janelle, my coordinator, Leandra, I was out this weekend. You know, I traveled. They handled everything from picking up the food, coordinating, making sure all the homeless people, all the unhoused people got fed, making sure everything ran, packing up stuff, cleaning up stuff, all those things. Guess what? They don't do that only because they were delegated. They do that, they run those things because they've been empowered. So it's very important. Delegation and empowering goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Okay. I have sometimes it's really difficult to do that, to empower people, especially when you feel like it's your business, like it's your savings. You are protected over it. It's like just like the way you'd be scared to give your child to a nanny. Sometimes you would, So, but then you realize that as an entrepreneur, right, your time is better spent thinking of ideas to develop the business, right? Or thinking of ways to make the business grow. But a lot of people, because they are afraid, they end up doing all the little work by themselves. Right? Exactly.
And those little works will wear you out. That's why you need to have a relationship with God, so you can have discernment. You just don't delegate anyway. You empower. You have discernment. Have you ever had that employee? I mean, I know you travel, right? You just go back into the country, right? You had to delegate somebody, right?
Definitely.
Because you've had a level of discernment about them where you have faith and believe in them. So I discern, like my coordinator and my director. My director used to be a coordinator, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I feel like you should be promoted, right? I feel like you've done a lot. I feel like now you should be a director. But what do you think about this person? They've been showing up every Saturday. They've been dedicated. They're not getting paid. They work like they are getting paid. I can tell it's passion. That's my discernment talking. And I'm like, hey, how would you feel being a coordinator? I've seen the way your work ethic. I've seen your passion, the way you like to serve people, the way you love on people. Guess what?
It was the volunteers that you employed into Walter Bruce.
And they don't get paid. It's free.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. That's nice.
They don't get paid. It's free. They're doing it out of passion. You see, when you have a relationship with God and God gives you discernment, you make the right choices.
Yeah.
Nobody gets paid in the Walter Bruce Foundation. Everything is volunteer based.
Yeah. Wow. That's really powerful. Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. And can you give me, how did you see the conversation? Did you enjoy it? Can you just give some last words? And
I enjoyed it. I can tell I enjoyed it because I couldn't stop talking. Normally when a conversation is not that interesting, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get out of here. But this was thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with the world, right? I've always wanted to be in a position where I can use my life as a testimony to motivate other people that are going through hurdles in life, that are going through experiences. And God lets you go through all these things so you can be a living testimony. He said, by their testimony they shall be known. God is a show of God. He likes doing things in people, right? We know he's a miracle working God because he helped Moses part the Red Sea. That is a testimony, right? He's a miracle working God and he can help anyone because he's helped me. This is a young boy from where? Kokomemle in Ghana.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing amazing things in my life.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning. So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with the world. And I hope I can motivate someone out there to seek God more and know that with God, anything is possible.
Yes. Thank you. So
you're welcome. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Yeah.
You too. You too.